제한나네 되는년지 참망이 쉬마고 제 참망이 친세로와 되년지 때 고와다 가서 산에 쉬누기 만주 딜라 캐나다로 존데 마이비 초방가 요래 안쪽에 드드 진행 안쪽 드르지 지나 간디 둘라네 다네 안쪽 파지 제이로와 딱 강도마다 아니 도시네 안쪽에 산에 쉬누기 안산에 쉬누고 초신이 담보 되년지 때 고와다 산지 때 고와다 마리랑 이게 라 CP StopDefaming
딜라요마 लागे मारे नामी सेदी की देवा मारे नामचो तोन समता वाय ने खरे तोन समता वाने बेबे ngaran जोला फमना सी सिबु छेची chamjong तोनी इने जिगला देवा देला ज्ञाना शुंगे ड्रोसंता ने शुरुता जे थोलाता ओसाने पुरान तो केसर के समझे न नोरो रेशुए नेचुर दी खरे 총알 망자 경고로 다오직 생각나 다오직 라스노나로 비디오 간수제 edit cheje it was created to with an intention to defame his holiness when even happened about more than a month ago, right? So during this time, the time that when mainstream media
Canada News Network CBC la jure undele de udo mongko pele shadri ane de kamsa sha ando mongko panele udo donda mongko pele udo ndore udo de police ke tansha 이제 핸들에 올려서 니 그거 처음으로
Zambuling digi, Kuranji Tadane, Kuranji Tadan Tukyone, Nitsumune the machine, Shimjuche machine, Kuranji Samlo Tana Yune, Naranje Sange, Chinakos Gangin Chabuchogi Mingdi, Sweat of Chicher. Manzu, didn't to do Kavlia. Zuguzu, Chugachulu, the Negi Kitchen there to do your mare. Turn on Ginedan Tanda, Hajangi Zarachadure. Yami Shungi, Mutuni, Lord Chichu, the Nemata, Lord Yagi Sijitan and around the baby, old Seme Kajistan or Nitashi Chediori. Dick up to Montanya de your mare. Patsu Zuguzuni de your mare. Chugachulu Kitchen there, your mare. Nazo, permit Sama, 20 Cheguere. 20 Cherry. Love shot, my love shot. Permit Sama, Laduga, like it's a 20 love shot. Permit Sama. Permit Sama. Permit Sama. Permit Sama. Tariniso. Patsu Zugutu and Yelia, Taringi to the Tezuna. Permit Sama. Permit Sama. Permit Sama. Taringi Nitsu Dilia. Peba Mamuchik. Nikyo Kumasus. Puyena Loptanalia. Midday kitchen, a leg out to Mindula and Yipja Tangadula Ududa. The Nessi word. The Negi Nezu Chadir. Nima Tambo Nesuma Padu. Tage Gula. Ranzi Chino was a Yavichuba Chokolia. Take Durim and the country much better than the time there. Dikabdu. No to permit Yamdo Chicha Lane. Lane Gabore. Lane Gabia Delia. Haja shook too much in the Lane Gabore. Lane Tata Gabore. She did Guni Lane Gabore. Naranjegi, Tang Tangbong Yegi, something alia. Permit Cock, Cassan and Yamdo Lanleche. Mune Tane. You must Shivan Nawa Barula. Tage Gunere, Mulam Gunere, Gangang Mune Tane to the Cheche. Kali shoot up. Lega Yunege, Gona Saint Sanga Deche, Tage Gunid, Lane Gamni Day is Lane. You must show our Mune Tane. Be Mamuchiki, Tage Gunere, most of Tokyo than the Gonda shoes. Nanza Tama to the Chidugala, Jumde Tangudua. Tumne Pergi, you know, as a Karchin in Pergi Netangola, Samutangi Yomare. Samutango Echirua. In a young, you must show all of Mikashiki Gonda Liar, Tandapadu, Tage Gune, Handega, be Mamuchik, Yamuchikolia, Konoteni Deore. Lega Tanda Tayo Marta. Mutuning on the leg chair. Yamdo Chini. Tambushavina. Jina Hosi Kim Chimo Sangera. Nansangela kept going shiki Omare. Kept going the Nazare. Yaki something alia. Naziki, Le, Gere. Naranjiki Pama Uti. Jina Hosi Kim Chobacho, Colia, Dukja Lange Suine. You be now, Geding on Zolayor. Lane Gabiala. Depend on Zoloto, the young tell a pentoy get chair mata. Young which is Sangero. Young which is they dumbling Delia, catching sugar and Ganza the sugar. Ganzalia, London Naya. Dominida, charges and Yamlen Chiachitu. Tambushavina, dinner to Kodu Galia, Susu. So I shook too much carringless like Shivina. Ah, Nala Guptuji Resha Sams. Susugi Teba.
Now la taya susun nangkulia. Chia kolas lucky ore ine nyamne chetu ko doe. Takche chia. Ngaranze pebe nangkulia 20 doe. Penang inne dang digat sata yore dikap dengan se pe galo lagi yore free Tibet lagi yore di inne. Cik langlen targi yore. Di tiwalis. Nima tamo da suma barul ta gune simshu chan kora. Nganzo mom ba khau shira chasa re sams. Ine ya. Nima shiwa da ngawala. Mi mamu jing nyam do ruchen. Patsu choga cholo mata. Patsu sukaji gyapyo re mata. Su ine ke geje yaku inji ke na la shek du lawi na share che. Patsu tam. Rugru che swa. Dikap da ngawune rewa ches. Nganzo mutune. Tine chene kale gyabi na. Nima chik nganzo gangang pelo loa yore. Nyamdo inda. Samalo permit sama. Tinji. Permit sama. Permit sama. Permit sama. Permit sama. Permit sama. Sansa. Simshu macharo na. Nganzo shenge ine resu ine. Jenda yona. Ngaranze gyamba denze gyapkyo yona. Mutene nganzo ganga nyamdo chine kale gyamne. Zamling gangalia chino khonsa gyamgi chimbo cho surela ni khonsa tyo cho. So regarding this incident, I'd like to share the statements that many Tibetan leaders and activists across the world have come together to write a statement. But before I begin, I want to preface by saying, regarding this incident, there's no need to defend His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Why? Because he's the Buddha. He's the emanation of Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion. However, when someone tries to stain the name of our Buddha, it is our duty and responsibility to make sure that the world understands the contributions of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. It's also our duty to ensure that when the world talks about the words of diversity and inclusion, we must know and have the vocabulary to call them out, to walk the talk, because they clearly are not. So here we go, the statement. Language, culture, and context define how people view any given situation. For Tibetans who saw the video of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's interaction with the child at a public event in February, it is clear that he was displaying affection, warmth, and humor. It is through a lifetime of familiarity with His Holiness the Dalai Lama that we all understand his words and his actions. But for some people who don't know the situational context or the cultural context, or who didn't even bother to look up online, especially because of the world that we live in, the current world where children truly do suffer from serious abuse at the hands of powerful people, from religious institutions, there was a belief and assumption that the act was malign and the child was harmed. But what we can say is that with absolute certainty, that is not what happened. It is instructive that people who make these claims listen to what the child and the family have to say about their experience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Just immediately after the event, both the mother, who's seen on the stage right beside His Holiness, give an interview with the child, expressing how much of a blessing it was. Still, if the world is not satisfied with these concerns, we urge people to listen to their own words of the child and the mother themselves about what happened. This incident, aftermath of this incident, people can just walk away. Say, oops, I made a mistake, oops, sorry. But for us, the Tibetan people, the followers and the supporters of His Holiness Dalai Lama, what has been the most painful for Tibetans and our allies is witnessing the rush to condemn His Holiness. Any attempt to understand the Tibetan culture, the full context of the exchange of His Holiness, who's nearly 90 years old, the icon of global peace, has been shockingly absent from most media coverage and online discourse. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has lived nearly all his life in the public eye. He has engaged directly with countless thousands of people around the globe, and his life is remarkably unmarred by any scandal or controversy, even though that upsets the Chinese leadership very much. On the contrary, what His Holiness the Dalai Lama has done is what very few leaders of his stature do. He has welcomed and embraced change. He has willingly given up political power. He has forgiven and even seeks compromise with the same Chinese leaders that are destroying Tibet. As movement leaders and activists, we are not surprised to see a massive operation by the Chinese government who is trolling and making sure that they're working amplified times to drive this story, maximizing their views and outrage in order to distort the reality. Their aim is to destroy the reputation of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the movement for Tibetan freedom. For the world, there is no secret Dalai Lama. He is who we know him to be, an 87-year-old Buddhist monk who has devoted his life to teaching, practicing, meditating on wisdom and compassion. And for the world, we are immensely proud of his legacy and selfless service to humanity. We stand by him at this time and every single time. Tibetans in Tibet need us. They need us to stay focused. They need us to stay focused on exposing the reality of the China's genocidal policies inside of Tibet. Tibet is the least free place on earth. China has forced and coerced 1 million Tibetan children into colonial state-run boarding schools. Some experts say within 15-20 years, the Tibetan language will be lost from our next generation. However, this is just